Together unscripted, baby, that's our way. In a life that's messy, we love and laugh each day.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Together Unscripted, Love, Laughs, and Leftovers. I'm Jen and my husband Danny. This week's episode is brought to you by Primal Revolution of New England, helping women 35 plus ease into and thrive through perimenopause. So you can grab the link in the comments of today's episode or go to primalrevolutionofnewengland.com. This week we wanted to chat a little bit about where we started, just how we met and how we became this awesome blended family of 6. Yeah.
We actually met on eHarmony, which when we tell people they think we're kidding. We did. We're talking 17 and a half years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
eHarmony was just getting popular then. I was going through a lengthy divorce, so I actually started eHarmony before my divorce was finalized. And I told people, anybody who would listen, I'm never getting married again. Women are only good for one thing. Went on a bunch of first dates on eHarmony. Was dating somebody very casually. And then one day I opened up my credit card statement, which, we still got statements back then, and looked at it and was like, son of a... It renewed for 6 more months. I was so pissed, but I couldn't fight it because I signed up for auto renew and forgot about it. And I'm like, well, I got it. Let's go through. Let's see all these connections, because I actually had shut off the notification. So I wasn't even getting notified that people were matched or communicating or anything. And out of the 100-something that I had been matched with, anything with no picture gone. And I went through everything like, nope. I ended up just starting conversation with 3 people. Jen was the one that I just looked at, I'm like, ooh, she's got a cute smile. She reeled me in. And I just reached out and we started chatting. So, it was for the guy who was never getting married again.
That didn't last long.
Didn't last very long. We ended up meeting and...
So same, I was newly divorced earlier that year. Thankfully, mine wasn't as drawn out as his. But I had actually met my ex in high school. Married early years of college, so I never did that dating scene. So being out on the market, I guess, I don't know. Did the bar scene with a couple of girlfriends, and that was the bar scene. Literally from Star Wars. It was crazy. I don't know. Because here I was. It was a mom with 2 really young kids at home. Really not interested in doing the bar scene, but I hadn't really done the dating thing, so signed up for eHarmony and Match. I didn't jive with Match, so I gave eHarmony a shot, and the goofy pics that got me, I still have saved on the computer. That's actually what they're labeled, the goofy pics that got me. So no, it was kind of fake. I think we chatted online for, I was going to say at least a few weeks, if not even
Could have been longer.
a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
Between the online messaging and then exchanging numbers, talking on the phone. We were like high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
We would literally chat on the phone until we fell asleep.
Yeah. And then this is back when phone plans didn't have a texting plan. You got 10 free texts a month, and I realized how expensive texting is if you don't have unlimited texting, because we started to text each other all the time. So it got a little crazy, but our first date was, we just met at Chili's. We figured it was the most innocuous.
Kind of neutral ground.
Yeah.
And
halfway between, right in town.
Yep.
We ended up pissed the waitress off because we were at her table for a solid 2 hours, and I even said, we gotta go. She's gotta turn this table over. She's gonna kill us.
I know, we did feel bad.
And we ended up chatting in the driveway for probably another hour.
At least another hour.
Before we actually got in our cars and took off. And it was, it was good conversation. She was dressed like she was trying to reel me in, like she just said. She had the,
a little scoop neck on.
It was fine.
Chili's.
I didn't mind it.
But
I didn't mind it at all. you know, we
But the
chatted.
conversation came so easy.
Yeah, we
that
chatted
was,
about.
That was like that confirming
It was a very easy conversation.
piece. Like there was no struggle to find that conversation, to flow from one topic to the other, and it just.
Yeah, I just remember that we were talking about work at one point, and then I mentioned I had an older pickup, and she thought that was cool, and I'm like, oh, I have an older pickup because I own a rental property. She's like, holy crap, you do? And then we talked about that for a while, and then of course we talked about kids and how we grew up, and we're talking about, you know, my parents come from Canada, and I was on my grandfather's farm 5-6 times a year, so that was, you know, it just flowed and flowed. You know, but then we said goodbye on Sunday, said we'll chat this week.
That was Sunday, yeah.
That was Sunday, and they said we'll chat this week. I don't think we talked on Monday, but then on Tuesday...
We might have like texted on Monday.
We might have.
It's a while ago.
But side note, I was still dating somebody else. Like I said, very casually dating, wasn't serious. I had been dating for a couple months, and I didn't introduce her to my kids or anything, so I kind of knew it was not going to happen.
And then Tuesday, I'll just kind of give a little lead into him tracking me down, we'll say. Tuesday at work, I was like under the weather. I was ready to just like call it a half of the day and go home. But he ended up tracking me down before that.
Yeah, I was a part of a concert club years ago, so when all the good concerts came through, I got first pick tickets. I would always buy my limit and sell them. And it was for the Police, the reunion tour that they hadn't toured in years, and they are at Rensselaer Field in Hartford. And I had planned to go with somebody I worked with, and we had talked about this for weeks. And, you know, that day she's like, I'm sorry, I can't leave work early to go to the concert. I'm like, well, I'm not going to a Police concert at 9 o'clock. I'm not going late. So I immediately was like, okay, she told me where she works. This is back in the day when everybody had a phone at their desk and there was actually a switchboard and you could talk to somebody. So I just called the main line and said, can you please talk to Jen? And I went right to her desk. I think I left you a voicemail. I think
you got me. I think you did get me because I was just not feeling good. And then he called me and he told me about the tickets and I'm like, okay. But then I realized too, if I left early because I wasn't feeling good, I might hear flack about it from my babysitter. So I was like, all right, I gotta tough this out so that I can get home, ask for somebody to watch the boys so we could go out and have fun.
Yeah, but I did. I totally stalked her and tracked her down. And
well, yeah, because you had probably called my cell phone, but I mean, honestly, at that time, we didn't have our cell phones like in our hands 24/7.
No, exactly.
So yeah, you tracked me down on my desk phone. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to miss out on the Police concert, and sure as hell wasn't going alone, so I wanted to make sure she was available. And
it was fun.
I was quite smitten with this one, so she's the one I wanted to go with, so I did whatever I had to do to find her. You know, and that was just 2 days later after we met, so, you know, not a bad first real date to go to
No, it was a freaking awesome concert.
Go to a pitching concert.
Oh my gosh. Although you were pretty impressed that I knew how to use the map when we hit traffic. Because we actually had paper maps then.
Yeah, that was no gyps on your phone. You know.
The thing that's only like 17 years ago, like we still had to use paper maps. Not, pull it up on our phone and find an alternate route. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the Tuesday. And then we chatted the rest of the week. And then on the weekend, we saw each other again.
Well, we went to see the Bourne movie.
Right, that's what it is. We went to see whichever Bourne movie's out at the time. I can't even tell you. The second one, I think. Third one.
Not a clue.
I have no idea.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, so that was the first week. I think the next day we decided to meet each other for breakfast because I was going to work on my rental property. So I showed up at the diner in my beat old 86 F-150, which I wish I still had. Loved that thing. Loved it. Just, I wasn't driving enough, so it fell apart. But, we met for breakfast, and then the next weekend, and it's funny because when I first met her, I spoke to my cousin, who's probably my best friend in the family, and he's like, don't forget the party next Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Don't forget about the party next Saturday. And he's like, are you bringing anybody? I'm like, no, I just met a girl. Yesterday. I can't see bringing her and her kids and with my kids to a family picnic when nobody knows she exists or I'm even dating. And He didn't say anything. He just said, all right, that works. You know, you and the crew, or you by yourself, we're good. We'd love to have you over. And it was for my cousin's birthday. And then his daughter's birthday. And then the middle of the following week, which is, you know, I've only known this girl for like 9 or 10 days, I call him like, hey, would you mind if I brought my new girlfriend and her 2 boys?
I think you called him the day of the
I might have.
That
sounds right.
Because same, like,
That sounds like me.
We had, we had met, I mean, we, you know, went on a few dates, but we really just...
Oh, I think it was that afternoon when we first introduced the
right.
kids.
It was that morning that we introduced the kids at the park.
Yeah, and they had like
So
the best time ever.
It must have been like a Saturday.
It was.
So things had just been going really well, and both of us previously had said, like, we are definitely not introducing our kids to anyone because you
don't want
you
the
don't
revolving door. You're going to confuse them or do any of that
and
crap.
the kids were really, really young. So,
yeah. 2,
you know.
3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, we don't want to, like, add in any confusion or whatnot, but... So we decided, you know what, we'll meet there was a local playground that, you know, we went to all the time. So we met there and kind of made it a little bit of like a casual, just to see how they all get along. And they melded from the moment they met.
Oh,
they really did.
Was so good. Yeah, we got a picture from the first time they met, and they're on.
It was like this big...
I don't even know what kind of toy it was.
Big bench seesaw thingy.
Yeah, it was weird. But they're all just laughing and smiling and having a great time. And that was when I said to her, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me call my cousin.
Yep.
Because we didn't want to say we're
just
done for
show
the day.
up with 6 of them.
Yeah, I'm not showing up with an extra adult and 2 extra little children. So we called. He said, I kind of knew this was going to happen. So, yep, we're going to planning on you and her and the kids. And
grabbed our suits and towels. And
grabbed suits, towels. Went over and
welcomed with open arms. And
yeah, the family adored her and the kids right away, and it was kind of funny because my godmother, my aunt, was amazed that this girl who just met my kids that day is like, all right, let's go get dressed, and they're all about it and putting their suits on and coming out together, and the 4 of them in the pool together, and it was like
so cute.
It was like they were already siblings, so that was a big deal for me. But yeah, that was just, like I said, 2 weeks later. And again, the guy who I'm never getting married again, all this crap, ended up proposing in November after I asked her dad for her hand in marriage, and I didn't get a very positive answer, but I'm like, the hell with you, I'm doing it anyway.
Worked well.
It worked really well. But that was November. When did we?
It was like early November.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an early November. And my proposal was here.
Yeah, I just handed it to her. I wasn't doing
I knew it was in the house.
Oh, she definitely knew it was in the house because she tore my house apart looking for it.
I cleaned while I tore it apart, but I tore the place apart.
Yeah, and I hid it very, very well.
I literally looked in every nook and cranny.
Except the one in the bathroom under the sink. So, I hid it perfectly.
He had it like up in the sink.
I did, because I'm smart. And I didn't think she'd look there, thank God. But I at the time, I had a jeweler friend that I knew from Yankee Stadium. So he did a really good job. So
He did.
But she's like, I knew this was not, like, she basically said yes while she was chewing me out because I hit it too well, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
That was, like she said, November, and...
Yeah, and then we just kind of, figured things out, because, now we're going to blend this family, make sure the kids are spending more time together, getting to know everybody's routines and all just the different little things that kind of come with blending a family together. And, like we talked about last time, sometimes there's tantrums and this and that, and really just kind of getting to know everybody's, and I don't know, I think everybody just really flowed really pretty well together for the most part.
Yeah.
And then
because even...
we moved in together in March.
April? Yeah, it was
somewhere's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we moved into an apartment together in March or April. The 4 kids shared a bedroom. We had double bunk beds going on. It was cute because one of the problems when we first got together is her schedule with the boys was different than my schedule with my kids. So because of her ex, the way his shift worked, she got them 4 days on, 4 days off, which would jump when my kids were the same
change. It
days
wasn't the
every
same
week.
weeks. Yeah,
So
same days.
some days my two would come in the house and say, "Where are the other ones?" and then be upset. Some days the other two would do the same thing in reverse, but then there'd be times where we had all four, and there'd be times where we had none. So but that was hectic as all get out until we managed to get them the same.
Yeah, it was more beneficial for the kids to have them all four of them on the same schedule. So we had to kind of make some adjustments there, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, there was when we first moved into that place together, and I remember I got home first with the two older ones, and then she came with the two youngins. And my oldest looks at the baby, the youngest, the 2-year-old, and he goes, "Hey, little buddy." And it was the cutest thing in the world. The 5-year-old calling his 2-year-old future stepbrother his little buddy. It was really cute.
They are.
And they did really well together. The four of them would play together, and then two would go here and two would go here, and then we'd look a half hour later, and it's different pairs and playing different games, and they always had fun.
No, they did. They blended really well together, and then we were trying to decide, like what to do. We both. Well, I had done like the whole big shindig wedding, and honestly wasn't really looking to do it again. It was a lot, but we ended up deciding to do a Disney wedding, which was a lot of fun. I actually had a timeshare in Disney at that time, so the lodging piece of it was easy.
It was easy.
But honestly, if I had to pick a destination wedding over a shindig wedding, I'd probably pick a destination wedding again. But then
when you go to get married at Disney, you find out different states. You find out you have to be a resident of the state for 72 hours.
Yeah.
And you have to get all your paperwork done in those 72 hours. Well, I'm not going to Disney to drive around to courthouses and go see judges and notaries and all that crap. So we ended up...
It was a royal pain. Like all the paperwork and just... And again, it was 17 years ago. It's not like you could click and do this all online.
Correct.
You had to go different places in person. And
we weren't willing to do that.
So we were at a friend's wedding, and there was a justice of the peace, which was it was July. It was mid-July. Was the wedding.
It was like the 12th or the 13th.
Something in there, yeah. And I don't know what kind of struck us, but literally we are at the reception or the pre-reception even, and we were like, you know what? Let's just get married on our anniversary. We had our 1-year anniversary from the day that we met.
2.5 weeks out, something like that.
Yeah. It was a couple weeks out, and it was on a Tuesday. And so another friend at the wedding was acquaintances or knew we was friends with the Justice of the Peace. So we had a conversation with him. We're like, hey, what are you doing on Tuesday the 29th? And he's like, I'm free. Great.
Yeah, a couple funny stories about that one. At the actual wedding, I'm telling this one. Sorry, I have to tell it. It's one of the funniest things that ever happened.
Oh my gosh.
Her friend who knew the Justice of the Peace, you got to picture her. She's this beautiful blonde, very in shape, very intelligent, but sometimes misses what's right in front of her face. So she doesn't pick up on if you're teasing her or something like that. So the Justice of the Peace his name was Richard. He went by Dick. So she has this very high, shrill voice, and she's hilarious. And she doesn't realize that I'm egging her on to just keep asking questions. So she keeps saying Dick over and over again. And to the point where she's like, don't you just love Dick? Isn't Dick the best? I've loved Dick for years. And I'm asking her question after question after question to the point where her husband's giving me the death grin. Her father, I could have swore if he had a gun, he would have shot me. To the point where she's so loud, other tables are looking at us, and I just kept on.
Just egging her on and on and on and on.
Yeah, it was awful. It was funny, and then when she finally got it, she just smacked me like, "Oh, you're the worst!" She chewed me out for it, but I was dying.
In the moment, it was
and it was really funny. But when we got married, we actually went to a local.
It's a state park.
Yeah, state park. It's, if you know Meriden, Connecticut, there's Castle Craig. It's not really a castle, it's just a 30-foot high tower, but it's on top of the mountain. So we just had him telling him to meet us up there, and that morning she was at work, and I came in. Yep. I gave her tulips. I didn't want to give her a huge bouquet of tulips and other things. Brought her dress with me. I had my clothes. And friends were like, wait, what's going on? Are you guys getting married? Like, what the heck's happening? And then we
Well, go
realized...
into the bathroom and change, and
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't a
we
wedding dress. It was honestly, it was just a...
It was a beautiful
It was a white dress that I picked up at Kohl's.
Yeah, and then we realized, we're like, oh crap, we need witnesses. So some of the people came with us. So there's some random pictures of people that, just happened to be in the office at the time, which is fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
But then, we get married on the quote unquote castle, and then we come down, and we're standing there, we're taking pictures, and we're chatting with people who, the friends who came with us. And just then...
And we're doing this all like...
Yeah, we didn't tell anybody.
Afternoon. Nobody knew we were.
We didn't tell our parents. We didn't tell the kids. We didn't tell anybody because we wanted the Disney to be the experience.
Right.
So we figured we'll tell them when they're older, which we already have. But when we're in there, we're taking pictures, shaking hands, hugs and kisses, and just chatting a little bit. And all of a sudden, my older two, their daycare van pulls up. So we panic.
Well, we didn't really think anything much of it because
I was going to pick them up in half an hour anyway.
Right, like we knew we were going to pick them up.
I knew they didn't have much going on.
We didn't think there was any trips they were on that day, but one of the girls from the daycare steps out of the van. She looks at us, recognizes us, and kind of was just like, and then she realized what was happening.
But she gave us that look before.
Yeah.
And then she went from admiring and thinking we're cute to terrified.
Panic.
Like her eyes got big.
Sheer panic.
Her arms froze. She shook. She spun around and she's scanning all the kids. And then she turns around. She puts her hand over her heart. She's like, "Oh, thank God, your kids aren't here." And then she comes over and we chat with her for a solid 10 minutes. She's like,
so funny.
She's like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna throw up." Like she got so scared so fast. It was hilarious.
It was really cute. Like her reaction was just so genuine and just.
Yeah, she was funny. Cute. She was really freaking funny.
Yep. Yeah, and then we showed up to pick up the kids at the daycare. She was just like,
we went and changed.
She was still like, yeah. Went home, did a quick change.
Yeah, changed and went to get all the kids.
And then went to do the round of
but then we started, we're married, but we're not telling anybody because my parents were coming to Disney, her parents were coming to Disney. Yep. We didn't want them to realize that we're already married. We didn't want to upset anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. So we didn't really tell anybody. But now we're changing our utilities. Jen Lavoie shows up. We're changing the phone bill.
Yep.
Everything else. So there was one time where she called.
I called your mother's house. I think.
Yeah, from your cell phone.
Yeah.
But it came up with my last name, and my mom's like, "Wait a second."
Oopsies.
Yeah, and I said, "Mom, we're getting all the paperwork done. We just changed it now so that we don't have to worry about it later." Sorry, Mom, if you're listening to this one. Sorry, I lied. Yeah, kind of had to, and.
It all worked out.
It worked out just fine. And then, we had our first Christmas together, which was she lived in her grandparents' old house. So we did Christmas with the kids there. Mm-hmm. And, we ended up moving in together in April.
And started some just new family traditions.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But then we still did do the
so we got
the Disney wedding.
Yeah.
We still did that, and so we got officially married in July and then did the Disney wedding in January.
Right.
And I actually realized when I booked the airline tickets with my new married name now. But kind of, not really telling anybody that we were officially married. Only a very, very small handful of people knew. Mm-hmm. And I think I realized the week before we were going, mm-hmm. I hadn't changed my license yet.
You noticed the week of.
Maybe it was the
week
week of.
I think we left on Saturday?
No, because we left on Sunday.
Okay, you went to get your license on Thursday.
Yeah. So
it was
thankfully I realized
as close as we could have done
it. So I had to carve out, if you've ever been to a Connecticut DMV, you have to carve out an entire day. So, but got it done, switched, we left on Sunday. I actually wish, again, this is before we had pictures really on our cell phones, and they weren't in our hands 24/7, but walking through the airport, it was just so stinking cute. So the kids were, I guess,
we looked like a line of ducks.
6, 5, 4, and 3, probably. Yeah, they were 6, 5, 4, and 3 at this point. Yeah. And they did. Because it was the oldest down to the youngest. They each had their own suitcases, their own little backpacks.
So they all have their backpacks
all color coordinated.
They got their suitcases with wheels, and some of the wheels lit up, so they thought they were cool as hell. But Jen's in front, and then the oldest, and you went just because we oldest, youngest, and I was, it looked like the, can you hear me now kind of stuff. And then as we're going through the airport, people are looking at us, and we're getting the ahs and the oohs and how cute and all this stuff. Well, I'm bringing up the rear in case they get distracted because they got distracted, and I'd have to go off to the side and like tap them in the butt, like, hey, like catch up to your brother, let's go. And people were just laughing the entire time, you know, because everyone, it was always a different kid who would just all of a sudden following, like, calm in. Going through the airport was actually tiring because I think I did like 10 extra miles going side to side to pick up the kids.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like.
Yep, you were just going.
Yep.
A few times I had to yell or give her the whistle, like, slow down, we're losing children. You're going to abandon the child.
Hey, I'm just like, you know what? I packed for Disney for 6 people. Everybody had their own carry-on. We didn't check anything.
Correct. We did all right.
That was awesome.
And then getting to Florida, which is kind of funny, it's January. We're landing in Florida. We're
New Englanders.
We're wearing t-shirts and I think shorts and jeans or whatever. Like, we're just
Maybe
talking
jeans
t-shirts.
and a t-shirt. I don't even know.
It was 60 flipping degrees. And the guys that...
They're coming out in parkas.
They come out in parkas, hats, gloves. To the point where I'm just like, wow. Like, man, oh man.
That's funny.
Like, you know they're not from New England if you're wearing a parka in 60-degree weather.
Oh my gosh.
And they thought we were crazy because we were wearing jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah, jeans and
We were
t-shirts,
fine.
that was it.
Yeah, it was cold for the first 2 days we were there, but it ended up being really nice.
It did. It ended up being a beautiful week. It was just so much fun. The kids, you know, I mean, the wedding at Disney itself was just amazing. They did such a wonderful job. The kids got to dance with Minnie and Mickey at the reception.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was.
Even though they don't remember it, they see the pictures of it.
They did. It was such a fun time. I mean, even just from our whole little Castle Craig excursion to Disney, and then, you know, just coming back and just carrying on. The
one thing that, like, Disney, a week of Disney after you're getting married, but when you have 4 toddlers, wasn't really much of a honeymoon. It was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. We had a great time with the kids. Kids had a great time. If you ever go to Disney and you want to rent a character, be forewarned, they're flipping expensive. We only paid for 1. We got 2. They threw in Minnie as a bonus. Like, woohoo, thank you.
That was amazing.
The violin player was really cute. Like, everything was, Disney does it right. It's top notch.
It was beautiful. To show up, I brought my dress.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
that was it.
Yep.
We had hair and makeup come to the room. It really was, and honestly, it was a hell of a lot cheaper than.
Yeah, and we actually, getting the boys ready with me, you know, we all had
oh my gosh,
matching
so
suits
cute.
and everything, and we actually had a butler. The boys had no idea what was going on. Like, the guy was actually helping put on their little coats and their vests, and it was cute.
Yep.
It
really was. No, it was
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And that was January, and then we ended up going on a cruise in April that she had one with the company she was with. So we used that as our honeymoon. So, you know, together, at that point we were together a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Almost 2 years, because April to July, we were together almost 2 years.
Closer to 2 years, I guess. We
met, got engaged, introduced our kids, moved in together, got married again, and went on honeymoon in a matter of 21, 22 months. So, if you would have asked me before I met her, like, are you ever going to do that? No. Are you going to do that in that time frame? Hell no. Are you out of your flipping mind? Not a chance on this planet. And then I met her and all that shit went out the window. And it just worked. But I think the thing that we get asked with a lot is, why'd you go so fast? We weren't trying to. It was just the timing that worked for us. Like, we aligned on almost everything. We aligned on values with the kids. We aligned on discipline with the kids. We aligned on chores for the kids. We aligned on money. We aligned on our future. We aligned on, you know.
We really did. I mean, it was
our extended family. We agree. It's very rare on major things that we do have disagreements. Don't get me wrong. We're not
all sunshine.
We're not photocopies of each other. But we know how to tell each other, I love you, I respect you, I disagree with you.
Yep.
And that's quite literally how I say it. Babe, I love you, I don't agree with you.
Yep.
I just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But for when it comes to the kids,
some time to get to it too.
But when it comes to the kids, when it comes to money, when it comes to what we want to do,
where
we want to live, how we want to retire, all that stuff lined up. So for me, a year wasn't long. It really wasn't.
No. It didn't, honestly, like, it happened really quickly, but it didn't really feel like it happened quickly.
Right.
I mean, we definitely, you know, no matter what you do, there's always going to be critics, but, you know, some people obviously, like, you're moving too fast, but you know what? You have to kind of just step back and recognize and realize, what do you want? You have to just follow your heart. What do you want? What are you looking for? You know, if it feels right to you and and you're comfortable, it feels right in your gut, and you follow your heart. You do you. What you do and what feels good for you, and really too, what works in our relationship. Not everybody's ever going to agree on it, and that's...
Yeah, because I actually have family members who got married just as fast as we did, but they also had the rest of the family giving them warnings like, nobody knows anything about this guy. Like, what do you have in common? What's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here?
Yeah.
We didn't have any of those warnings from anybody. Like, nobody came to me and said, do you really know this girl? Like, is she really... Everybody adored her. So there was nobody saying, pump the brakes. They're like, yeah, we dig her. Like, cool. So, I mean, I've seen both sides. I've seen people wait way too long. You know, they wait 12 years to get married. It's like, well, you're already married at that point. What the heck were you waiting for?
Yeah, exactly.
But then we've seen people get married in a year. And we know we've seen these. And then we're just like, eesh, that was probably too fast. But with us, like, the timing works for us. So when people say it's too fast, it's too slow, everybody's different.
Everybody has their own timeline.
Everybody has their own timeline. Just not even go with what feels right, but, you know, it's got to make sense to you. You got to agree on certain things. You got to align. And if nobody is telling you about red flags that they could see, that's kind of where we were at. I was waiting for people to tell me, like, oh, dude, when you walk away, she does this, or she says this, or she does that. It never happened.
No, there was never any red flags. And I guess that, too, was a blessing. Being a second marriage for both of us.
We knew what we didn't want.
We knew exactly
very much
what we didn't want. We had both seen and ignored red flags before, so we had a little bit of a better knowledge as to what you were...
And I actually think my radar was ultra sensitive because I was waiting for something, and I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm like, okay, she can't be this person.
Crazy in.
Yeah, she kept it in. No shit. I kept waiting for the crazy to come out. I mean, it's come out since then, but it's a good crazy. It's not a scary crazy. You know, the Hot Mess Express over here, she's titled herself that, so don't give me grief that I called her that. But it's just...
No, I name a program after it now.
Yeah, the Hot Mess Express. But it's just, like I said, you know, it was right. And I don't know how else to say it. And when people still don't believe us that it was eHarmony, like, well, we were actually in a commercial. We weren't like the commercial where it's like,
the headliner.
Here are these
whatever,
two people.
but
it was, we were in Times Square when they made a mosaic out of all the couples that were successful. We were like in the very bottom left corner. And people that we know had actually gone to Times Square and said, I saw your face on a billboard. Okay. I believe it. Cool.
It was cool.
It was neat. But just with that.
Yeah. No, just you have to follow your heart and do what's right. Everybody doesn't have naysayers in their lives, and you're gonna have both naysayers and cheerleaders. So, you know, kind of, I guess, listen a little bit to both, but really, you know, go with what works for you.
Yeah.
It's you.
Be smart. Don't ignore the red flags, but don't ignore the good parts either.
Definitely. So.
All right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in again this week, and we'll catch you again the next time.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.